But that boy got a mind. He know how to broker a deal. So LeBron took a chance on him. And it paid off. As the old folks say, he reached back for his friend and brought him along.
Right.
He probably gave him a stern talking to. But hey, that's okay. But he brought it. If we did more of that in our community,
we can get our own island.
I ain't moving to the
No, what I'm saying is, but the thing about it is we can go back and forth from the island to the States. I'm just saying.
No, because that's supposed to be happening.
But the thing about it is, like, if we get our own, but pretty much we can have our own economy. If we help one another, pretty much we can accomplish more.
If we just do that, stick together. We are the only ethnicity that does not stick together. Every ethnicity but ours, they can dislike each other. They can have a bad day. They can cuss each other out. But when it comes time for that bond to happen, to make some things shake, they do it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. We suffer from the crabs in the barrel mentality. That's terrible.
It's very terrible. Now, speaking of terrible, unfortunately, and I hate to do this right there, the Jaylend Walker. So Jaylend Walker was fatally shot by Akron police after a traffic stop in Akron, Ohio. According to reports, he fled the scene and they fired 90 bullets at him, 60 hitting Jaylend Walker and killing him, pretty much. Another, according to reports, that coming from Akron, Ohio, that they handcuffed him after they shot him. I mean, that's murder, abuse of a corpse, just a whole bunch of crimes committed by the Akron Police Department. There were people from other coalitions, the Jail Coalition. Some of them got arrested for protesting on Sunday. Shout out to Fredo Hampton, Kareem Abdul-Naif, and other Black Lives Matter protesters. And also shout out to Andre P. White for going up there as well, an activist from Cleveland going up there to Akron. But and Chris McNeil. But attorney Chris McNeil, Esquire. So how many times? It's like I'm repeating myself, the same stuff with a different name. And it's 60, and if you have PTSD like most Clevelanders do, then it reminds you of the 137 shots. So I know that he lost his girlfriend a week before this incident, and it was hurtful for him. So I say mental illness came into play, or just being depressed came into play. But the thing about it is this, like, every time 95% of African Americans who get pulled over die by the hands of police. This is excessive. 90 bullets, 60 went in him, meaning that he was a pincushion by the time they got to him.
I think they said he was mutilated.
Could you recognize who the boy was? Listen, Jaylend Walker was cray paper by the time they got to him. And they had the nerve to put the cuffs on him. This is the outrage that I'm talking about. Whatever the Akron Police Department was trying to put him with that bullshit ass press conference, but that's exactly what it was. It was, instead of talking about, I understand President Biden is talking about the labor unions and stuff like that. But the thing about it is we have a tragedy that happened down the street 45 minutes from here. Remind you of some things. And the thing about it is the reason that some people didn't want to bring this to my attention. I found this out on the 3rd, on the 2nd, and a lot of people didn't want to bring in my attention because of the simple fact of the matter is that as a personal experience, Jaylend Walker would be Jalen Gardner. And I'm thinking about my son. I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about him if roles were reversed. Nobody wants to bury their child at 25 years old. I have a child. You have children and grandchildren. So the thing about it is that, what like, and I hate to bring it, I hate to bring this up, but the thing about it is that what would have happened if, you know, our good old engineer, I love Tristan to death. I don't want nothing to happen to him. He's the best engineer I had. I don't want him getting shot and killed by the police. I don't want none of us getting shot and killed by the police. This some bullshit. This some dirty. They're like, Larry, you're not wearing a suit coat today. You damn right. I ain't been like, because of the simple fact of the matter is we're at war with democracy, with the Roe versus Wade thing. We're at war with our morality. And anybody that thinks that, oh, well, maybe he shouldn't have fled. Okay, I'm going to say this. There have been white folks that beat up the police that are still alive. Matter of fact, I saw a TikTok video, white dude yelled at the police saying, I'm going to beat your ass. And you know what the cop did? The cop walked off. He didn't call for backup. He was, you know what? Have a nice day, sir. And I'm thinking to myself, ain't that a bitch? And the thing about it is like, what hurts my heart is that it could have been me. It could have been my son. It could have been my cousins out there, you know, and he was suffering from something. He was going through it. And he said, well, he had a gun in the car. He didn't fire it at nobody. He had no chance. He was a non-threat. He ran. You know what you do if he ran? Don't chase him. Just throw an arrest warrant on him and just pick him up later. Alive. Jaylend Walker should be alive today. That's why the mayor of Akron shut down any 4th of July festivities, fireworks, whatever, however you have you, because of the simple fact of the matter is I felt like Cleveland should have followed suit. But the thing about it is that they didn't. There was parades and stuff like that. They, you know, the show must go on, even though we're hurting from this tragedy. But the thing about it is like it hurt my heart to see a young African-American man, 25 years old, getting treated like he was nothing but target practice for these police officers. He's dead already. Half of him when he died was metal. There was no blood in him. The blood is gone. He's metal now. And what happens if somebody else got caught in the crossfire? What happens if somebody just ran through that melee? Because of the simple fact of the matter is 60 bullets hit him. There were 90 bullets fired. So that means 30 bullets could have, and bullets are strays. They don't care if they fire from anybody else. 30 bullets could have hit somebody else, could have hit some innocent bystander person. Then what? Was that justifiable? No, it's not. It's murder. It's
I think the coroner did rule it a homicide. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, you put no matter what, and if you're scared if as a police officer, if you're scared of a African American man that's dark skinned or light skinned, maybe your ass shouldn't be on the force. Maybe you should, go to UPS, Amazon and UPS are hiring.
Here's what I will say about this, Larry, because I actually watched the video and I got a couple calls from people, about the situation. And I really couldn't say anything. And I'm still at a loss of words. 90 shots fired. And 60 of those 90 penetrated this man's body. That within itself is above excessive. But we have to look at the training that these police officers are receiving. Mm-hmm. We need to look at how they are being trained from a military standpoint.
Right.
We don't need to militarize our police department or our police officers. That's where we need to start. Them, guns drawn, and it was rapid fire. It was rapid fire when they were firing at this young man. And for them to then put handcuffs on him.
Right.
How could you even pick him up when his body was already mutilated? How could you?
It was full of lead anyway.
How did you guys accomplish that? Who was the big man that said, I'll pick him up, and you put the cuffs on him? I want those two to come forward. I want to know who picked him up. And I want to know who put the cuffs on him. Because to me, those two people right there are some cocky, arrogant son of a bitches.
Yeah, they are.
I want them front and center. Because you felt like you had accomplished something by doing that. So now we have yet another African-American male. Now, I don't care about you chasing him. I don't care about any of that. Chasing him does not mean you have to take his life.
Right.
Call it off. Call the chase off. It is not that serious to endanger other people. Like
I said before, if he fled, you fired a couple of shots, he didn't go down. Now, according to a police officer, I'm going to say he wants to remain nameless. There was no reason for him. Like, if you hit somebody in the pressure points in the artery or the vein,
it's done.
It's done. Like, if you shoot somebody in the back, either they're paralyzed or they're going to die.
Face.
I mean, face, head shots, heart shots, anything else like that. 1, 2 times, well, it's fatal. You know, nobody is like surviving 8 bullet wounds like 50 Cent did, you know, and even that he was close to dying. So the thing about it is that, you know, everybody, I'm disgusted because of the simple fact of the matter is how you gonna bury how the family of your young Mr. Walker.
You know what I said?
How are they gonna bury him? They can't bury him. They can't see him again like that.
No, this is to prove a point and to put Akron on notice, to put Ohio on notice, to put this country on notice. His mother needs to have an open casket, covered in plexiglass. Let the world see just what our black men have to go through. Let the world see just how bad our police department and their training is militarized to where they need to be somewhere overseas fighting for this country.
Right.
Go there and do that. Don't do this here. So I would like the mother to have an open casket because the world needs to see this. The world needs to see this young man. They need to see what happened to him.
And to be
put it on display.
To be so disgusted that they will stop this bullshit.
Put it. I want her to have an open, just like what's his name, mother, Emmett Till's mother. She had an open casket. This young man, not saying, you know, he could be our modern day Emmett Till. Put this country on notice. Put Ohio on notice. Put these police departments on notice.
Emmett Till all over again. That's a shout out to Stand Up With More saying Emmett Till all over again.
Put it on notice. Put him on notice. This country needs to be called out and put on notice. I hate the fact that she lost her son. No parent should have to bury their child. But this is the time for this mother, if she can, find it within herself to put her son in a casket.
And to back up your point.
Open it.
Right. To back up your point.
Let the world see.
Because she had to see that. She had to see that. She has to see that. She has to make the arrangements. His sister, everybody else has to see look how the Akron Police Department massacred this boy. Look how they massacred this boy. This was not this wasn't fair. This was not fair. So I understand that, but we are totally disgusted by what happened. And by the way, those officers, you should you need to be prosecuted. Whoever's the prosecutor up there in Akron and the Akron mayor listen, they need to be prosecuted. If not by the state, by federal, they need to be prosecuted for murder. That's what it was. It was murder. It was out of
does need to come in.
Yeah. On this one, they needed to come in. Because this was murder. Because what was this traffic stop for? What was it like? Maybe
I still haven't got the gist.
No, what was the traffic? Like you stopped him at the light. What was what did he have?
But I really pray, and I pray that this mother she finds peace and she finds comfort. But I also pray that she will allow her son to be seen by the world.
Right.
To put this country on notice.
Well, Dr. Richard Montgomery, shout out to Doc Mott. He said, you know, George Floyd was publicly executed in front of us and they still haven't passed the George Floyd bill. What is taking so long?
Yeah, it's still sitting up there, along with the John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
Oh, my God. The John Lewis, like, what? Listen.
Everything after that's been passed. Except those two.
Those are the two main ones. They don't make no sense.
They're two black man's bills. Why?
Because of the simple fact of the matter is, it's not a, right, at this particular point, it shouldn't be about black and white. It should be about justice. But of course, I'm living in a dream unicorn-shaped rainbow world that everything is justice. I mean, the thing about it is that, like, we celebrated Pride Month back in June. We can't try to push this to the point. We celebrated Juneteenth back in June about, you know, black people, you know, being free finally. We can't get these laws passed to the point where now we can actually celebrate because now we have laws in Congress that can protect us. But instead, in June, we also took rights away.
But you know what they did? You know what they did, Larry?
What?
They gave you Juneteenth to distract y'all.
From the Roe versus Wade thing?
No, from the John Lewis Voting Rights.
Right, who was one right, the George Floyd thing?
George Floyd bill. So we're going to give them Juneteenth because, you know, they love to party. So we're going to give them Juneteenth.
The thing about it is, I know people were down there at Juneteenth downtown and having a big celebration, but what is to celebrate about if you can't pass the two most important bills to protect African American people from violence just like this?
Our voting rights. They're coming
like this.
For them.
Somebody's calling in. Thank God. Who is? Answer that for me, please. Can you pick it up? Yeah. Hello?
It's super loud.
If you're trying to call in. Hello? Hello? Caller, are you there?
What's up?
There's a caller.
1 second, man.
All right, we're waiting.
All right, turn up.
Hello?
Tristan, Dr. Richard Montgomery.
Hello, Dr. Montgomery. How are you?
Oh, Larry Gardner, I got you straight out. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Pissed. I'm pissed.
Better, brother.
I
To the show. I was in Akron Saturday for the protest, and you know I'm from Akron, so you know there's lots of stories I can tell you about APD and their treatment of black people. However, this is probably one of the most obscene.
So pretty much you have been treated harshly by APD as an African American man, period, in your past, right? Or have heard stories.
Well, you know, so Larry, I was the first of my friends to have my driver's license, and my first experience with the Akron Police Department. Well, I won't say my first experience. The one that was more direct was I'm at the 7-Eleven back when 7-Eleven actually closed at 11. Trying to call my girlfriend to let her know me and the boys is in the car and I'm going to stop by. And the police say that we are taking a closed 7-Eleven to break into it. And they made us all get down on the ground and pat us down, swore us down. We were hiding them. There's, that kind of treatment among black people is not a new thing.
Right.
But when I was a younger man growing up on the east side of Akron, the police were out of control. I mean, there were lots of cricket police on the force. And when I say cricket, I know directly the friends of mine that I went to high school with decided, they couldn't afford to, get the school clothes they required and wasn't old enough to get a job. So they sold drugs. And the police would pull them over. They would stop them, take their money, and let them keep the drugs, come back over later on and take their money. So I want to also, put the caveat in. As a now 50-year-old man, I have friends who have joined the Akron Police Department who I know do the job with integrity. So I won't cast a overall net over the whole department, but we can understand with Jaylend Walker that there are some bad apples, some murderers, some executioners on the force.
Well, I think I have some opinion about some people that want to join the police force. I think they just joined it just to shoot a gun and kill people. That's just my personal opinion. Not all of them.
Legalized thugs.
Pretty much legalized thugs. They want to do they want to, like, they the biggest, like, sometimes.
It's not. It has that, the law that we all sort of hate, this qualified immunity thing. It was originally a law passed so that newly freed slaves could sue the state because the Ku Klux Klan had infiltrated the police department, the city government, state and state government. So this was a remedy that would allow black people to sue when those officers of government are taking away their rights.
Right.
And it wasn't until the 60s when a set of police officers raided a home full of black people. It was the wrong home. They made the entire family come out and strip in the front yard. When they sued,
damn.
That's when qualified immunity became the officers came there for a lawful reason. So whatever heinous thing they did after, they were protected because they showed up there as police. And you can bet that that's what's going to happen with these police officers in Akron. They're going to say that they had a legitimate reason to stop him for traffic laws, and everything after that was party to the initial stop. Now, we all know that in police procedure, when
other bullshit
decides to flee, even if he had a gun and just robbed the bank, you can't assume that after the point when the car stops and he flees that he is still armed with that gun. We are an entirely separate episode now. So everything that they did was inappropriate and against policy, but because they're protected by the official infraction, you can almost bet that Sherry Bevel Walsh, the prosecutor for Sumner County, is not going to bring charges against those officers. That's
why the federal needs to step in, because we know that they're going to protect their own, period. But because of the simple fact they know that they screwed up, so they're going to protect their own. That's why the federal department, just like with the George Floyd incident, we knew the state of Minnesota really wasn't going to do a damn thing. That's why the federal had to step in and say, you know what? It is what, like, we need to prosecute these police officers for murder. Premeditated. Give me a manslaughter charge, because it was because you slaughtered a man. Pretty much. Give me something.
Well, here's how it's going to play out.
Okay.
So there's an internal investigation. And based on use of force protocol, there should have only been 24 shots fired. If you got 8 officers who all at the same time believe that their life was in danger, they are taught to shoot for the chest and the head.
Right.
But only to shoot 3 bullets and then stop and monitor the situation. After the first 24, you can argue that it was like almost 5 seconds of shots where he was just laying on the ground.
Right.
So they're going to get fired for excessive force. But are they going to be prosecuted for his murder? It's unlikely because, like I said, there's not an appetite in Akron for the prosecutor's office to prosecute officers.
We need to give her an appetite.
Right. We need to give her an appetite.
Is if you look on Facebook, so I'm from Akron, so I got a page with 5,000 Cleveland friends and 5,000 Akron friends. There's a hell of a lot of black people who think, well, he shouldn't have ran. Or just go to the Beacon Journal, what the general citizenship thinks. I believe that there's enough black people, enough white people that it will give the impression that not doing nothing is fine. Because for them, it's about protecting their relationship with the police union. And if
that's bush.
In the last 4 days, as much of the Akron citizens rising up as you are likely going to see. And if that is all that they have to endure, there is no real public pressure for them to do more. Now, if they started tearing up Minnesota and raiding the police department like they did there might be some public pressure to say, well, we gotta do something more. But as you saw, the most they did was crack the window, set a couple trash cans on fire, and that was pretty much it. And that is, that is not the kind of outrage that is going to pressure a prosecutor saying, oh, I better do something.
Well, yeah, the George Floyd thing, when we saw that during the pandemic, during the pandemic, whole bunch of riots happened, including here. So
that's why I said I hope that this mother can let the world see her child in that casket.
So Jay, I agree with you with the shock value. I think that I actually agree. It's hard to tell a parent who's lost a child that way
Right.
they should do one way or the other, but I think there is a larger political role in having it an open casket for people to be able to see the shock and horror of what this mother has to endure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once we shock in all people, I don't know how much more shocking in all you can get to tilt the dude to death rate.
Right.
Seeing this body, what then do you think people will do?
Personally, people's emotions. If we're gonna thrive on our emotions, let's keep going with the emotional piece of it.
Let's keep going to the motion to either get
and put it out there. Let the world see just how dirty this country is.
Has this happened before?
As far as what?
Somebody getting shot 60 times. One person getting shot 60 times.
Yeah, 147.
The guy who, the
Amadeo or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, hell here, Tim and Melissa, 137.
Yeah, 137 shots.
137 shots was fired, but how many hit him?
Ooh.
Nobody never talk about that. This 60, I think this might be the first for 60.
There's two.
I don't compare their accuracy beyond their intent. When I look at the Tim and Melissa video, I see a posse of outlaws firing with no regard for anything at a car. In the same way, they were firing at jet. And they had them surrounded very similarly, and it just kept. Kept going.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't either. The thing about it is, like, no matter what hit, I mean, we said 24 shots should have been fired by those officers. If you fire 24 and if you miss, you should be off the force anyway, because, even Stevie Wonder and myself, with my eye problems, could hit somebody in the dark.
Did they release an officer's name to the public?
No, they haven't released.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But, to your point, Larry, I see 137 pieces of intent, 90 plus pieces of intent. Whether you hit them or not.
Right, exactly. Your
intent was to get all 90.
Your intent was to get all 90. And the thing about it is somebody could get caught in a crossfire, even if somebody could have got in a crossfire, an innocent person walking past or driving past during that time that you was firing at this dude.
Well, they were in the Bridgestone parking lot, like on South Main. That area at that time is not residential right there, and it's not usually populated. So, it wasn't.
Lucky for them. Right.
They were more of a risk to each other than they were to the public. Because did you see that, like, in one angle, two of the officers were almost directly across from each other? Like, they could have shot each other.
Well, and they dumbass would have deserved what they got. If I'm saying, I feel like I'm pro human life. I'm pro human life. But the thing about it is, like, if they dumbass shot each other, that's what they dumbass get. Maybe you should stop firing and check the situation to see if you hit the guy or not before you keep firing 90 fucking bullets at somebody and hitting and turning him into a human pincushion.
So here's what I think Jay is like. So Jay, they said this man shot out the car. Put your arm up, put your elbow up, and have your hand next to your face, and try to point like you're gonna shoot. Nobody with a gun would ever shoot that with their hand that close to their face. But what we don't see in the video is the arm hanging out the door.
But not only that,
they saw muzzle flash, and the window, you can see the reflection of the light on the window. So the window was up.
But not only, right.
Trying to make my officers, exonerate my officers. You know what I would have did? Gunshot residue test, which they could have did that first night. Said, look, y'all can say what you want, but he got gunshot residue on his hand. What they haven't said is something, a very simple test that they could have taken that would have made it look like he was guilty of something as they tried. But but they have not said anything about gunshot residue on him. And we have to assume that as you are listening to this very calm dude, we've got gunfire. Like he ain't said, like you see gunfire. Hey, he shoot the gun or something. He said it kind of like it was a signal. Now, if they don't find gunshot residue on that young man's hand, we got a whole different story here.
But not only that, though, Richard, when you think about it, at the rate of speed that he was going, how was that even possible that he would stick his hand out the window, point the gun backwards, and shoot?
That was bullshit. But
Even if he was just shooting as a warning shot, he still would have had to put his arm some level out the window.
Yes.
You don't see. And if you're not going to shoot the gun out the window, imagine sitting in your chair and there's a driver's side door next to you. First of all, most people shoot with their right hand because most people are right handed.
Right.
So let's assume he took it with his left hand and shot it. It was high enough where the muzzle fire, the alleged muzzle fire, was visible in the window, which means he had to have it at least head level. So if he didn't shoot the windshields out or the side windows out,
right,
and there's no bullet hole in the seat, then there's likelihood. I've been like that part of '76. Those are when they put those new. They just hit the road, put in these new lights. That what they call muzzle fire could have easily been a reflection of one of those new halogen lights.
Right. There was no gunfire.
So,
there was no gunfire.
I'm not going to say I have enough evidence to say one way or the other, but what I do notice is what people don't say. You can do a GSR test in the booking room with a dude you suspect.
All right, so what that mean?
Gunshot residue.
Part of the report from the medical examiner.
So if the medical examiner doesn't find gunshot residue on the victim's hand, then then there's no gun.
Did the ME say that already, though? Did they say it? Did they come out and say that? Okay.
No. The medical examiner has. Well, the thing about it, the medical examiner and the coroner is probably still picking bullets out this boy's spine. That's what they're doing. 60 bullets.
Well, whatever he had left in terms of extremities, he should have had gunshot residue on his clothes, and he should have had it on his hands. If you shoot a gun in a car, you get residue over everything.
Right. All right. So we got to go to Dr. Montgomery. We do have to go to a break here. I thank you. Thank you for calling in about that. Give me your estimation. So the thing about it is, the bottom line is that
I still hope. I really hope. Can't tell her what to do. The mother's grieving, but I just hope that she can find it within her heart
to put the open casket,
him on display, to let this country, let the world know that this country has a problem. We're the only country that has gun issues and police issues. Why is that? Let the world see this. The world needs to know.
The world needs to see the display of what happened. And this is why you vote. This is why you vote, because you got people, you got elected officials that put them officers in power and put that sheriff in power. And now see what happens. And Ronnie B said Ronnie B the Unforgiven, he said we still look good. We still try to look good and hate on each other and things of that nature. But when injustice rears its ugly head, it's bad for us all. Understandable. Thank you very much for that statement, along with a couple others. We're going to take a break. And this is Jay-Z with Benny Siegel and Scarface. Let this play. This can't be life for us. We'll be right back on the Headline Eye on Nerve DJs, WNRV 108.1.
I want her to put him on.